friends. I have been coming to this center from 1968 onwards several times. Every year I pass through the United States since 68 on my way from Australia to Europe, and I visit many of our centers, but here for the last 4 years I could not come. Swami Ranganathananda wrote to me, please include St. Louis and Kansas City in this year's tour. I gladly accepted the request, and I am here before you this evening. I left India on 3rd April, went through so many cities in Australia on invitation, then came to Fiji, Manila and Japan. Everywhere various meetings, universities as well as public halls, then television programs, radio programs, then in Japan, Osaka, Kobe and Tokyo. Finally entered the States at Seattle, then Portland, Sacramento, Berkeley and San Francisco. In front of me there are so many towns and cities here, as well as in Holland and Belgium, East and West Berlin in Germany and Mauritius till July 3rd. This evening Swami Ranganathananda has announced this subject, what Vedanta offers to the West. It is a wonderful subject. We consider only the modern West, that is receiving Vedanta. But the truth is, Vedanta has been influencing the West for more than 2,500 years. The ancient Greeks came in touch with Vedanta. When the Persian Empire stretched from Greece in the west and India in the east, Indian ideas flowed through the channels of communication. And when you study Socrates and Plato, you are already in touch with Vedanta. According to various writers, including an English intellectual, E.J. Urwick, who wrote the book The Message of Plato more than 60 years ago, you find this understanding that we cannot understand Plato and Aristotle without reference to the Upanishads, the ancient Vedantic literature of India. In fact, the Greeks found Socrates outside the Greek tradition, not representing the Greek tradition. That Greek tradition dealt with the world of the senses. What lies above the sensory level, that was not part of classical Greek culture. But Socrates represented that deeper vision, that transcendental vision. The Greek mystery religions centered in Eleusis, a few miles off Athens, were also concerned with something transcendental in man. But these aspects could not find a place in classical Greek thinking. And so, such a great teacher like Socrates was found by the Athenian state as spoiling the youth of Athens and was condemned to death. But in the teachings of Socrates, you find profound Vedantic ideas. If you were in India, you would not have been killed. You would have been honored as a great sage, because that deeper vision of man is what you find in Vedanta, in the Upanishads, and a continuing tradition throughout these 2,500 years. One such episode you can get in Plato's dialogues, from which you will realize how the Upanishads, Vedanta, speak through ancient Greek experience. When he was drinking the poison, one of the disciples there, who was also a friend of Socrates, not only a disciple, Crito, he asked a question of Socrates. How shall we bury you? Socrates smiled and said, you must first catch me, the real me, before you ask that question. Be of good cheer, Crito. You refer to this body. As to the body, do with it as you do with other people. Here you have a profound vision of human nature beyond this physical limitation, sensory limitation. An infinite divine reality is there in man, immortal. The body perishes, not the self of man, the Atman. Now that is the central teaching of Vedanta in the Upanishads. This passage in Plato can as well become a chapter in any Upanishad. So that is how from ancient times Indian thought flowed to the West. Whenever channels of communication were created by empires uniting East and West, the first such empire was the Persian Empire. The second was the Greek Empire started by Alexander himself. That also connected East and West. Immediately this kind of connection comes, ideas begin to flow both ways. Western ideas flow into India, Indian ideas flow into the West. Indian ideas were particularly relating to philosophy and spirituality. Some scientific ideas did go to the West, also fables, but the greatest contribution of India to the West of that time lay in the field of philosophy and spirituality. That the soul is immortal, the body comes and goes. The Gita refers to the body as a cloth we wear. When it is old and torn, we throw it away, put on a new cloth. And the soul therefore changes bodies when they are no more of service and puts on new bodies.